वालेकुम डियर स्टूडेंट्स। इन क्वेश्चंस के अलावा जो कि मैं वीडियोस बना के लगा रहा हूँ, अगर आपको कोई और भी किसी और एक्सरसाइज से कोई और चैप्टर से कोई क्वेश्चन आपने समझना है, पूछना है, तो आप मुझसे रब्ता कर सकते हैं और मैं कोशिश करूँगा कि प्रायोरिटी पे आपके जो बताए हुए क्वेश्चंस हैं वो उसकी वीडियो बना के मैं अपलोड करूँ। From these two linear questions which are 3, -2, -6 and 4. The other matrix is xy is equal to, and the next is 4, 7. Here is, it is a x and b, and we also write it ax is equal to b, but we find x whose elements are x and y, it is a inverse b, and we first find a inverse, which is A inverse is equal to adjoint A over A determinant, and we know that when we find the A inverse, we first find the value of determinant of A. So we find the determinant of A, which is 3 -2 -6 4. Find the value of determinant A, which is 3 4s are 12 minus -6 -2 multiply by plus 12. Simplify it. 12 minus 12, which is equal to 0, and it is a singular matrix possible. So solution is not possible. Okay. Now we solve question 1 part 6, which is linear questions are 4x plus y is equal to 9, and the other is minus 3x minus y is equal to -5. Now we change these linear equation into matrix form, which is 4 1 -3 -1. It is A matrix, and the other is X matrix, whose elements are X and Y, is equal to, the third is B matrix, whose elements are 9 and -5, and we write them AX is equal to B. But we find the matrix X, which is equal to A inverse B, and A inverse is equal to adjoint A over A determinant. Then we find A inverse. We find first A determinant, which is A determinant is equal to 4 1 -3 1 determinant, and solve the determinant. 4 -1 is equal to -4 -3 multiplied by 1 is equal to -3. Simplify it. 4 minus into minus plus is equal to 3 plus 3 is equal to -1, which is not equal to 0. So the matrix is non-singular. And now we can solve it further to find A inverse. Before finding A inverse, we find adjoint A. Adjoint A is equal to adjoint A. The value of A is equal to 4 1 -3 -1. Apply the adjoint formula. We get -1 4 3 and -1. This is the adjoint of A. Now put the values of adjoint A and A determinant in the formula. A inverse is equal to, the adjoint is equal to, adjoint A is equal to -1 -1 3 4 over -1, and we write it -1 into determinant -1 -1 3, 4. This is A inverse, and put these values of A inverse to A inverse B. Now we put the values of A inverse B and X. X is equal to, we have element X and Y. A inverse is equal to -1, 3, 4, and -1 in front of it. And the other is B matrix, which is 9 and -1. Before multiplying -1 with the matrix, we multiply these two matrices, A inverse and B. And when we multiply the two matrices, we know the rule. The first matrix, number of column, the second is number of row. They are both same in 2 and 2, so it is favorable for multiplication. -1, and we multiply these values, first row with first column. -1 multiplied by 9 is equal to -9, and then -1 multiplied by -5 is equal to +5. And the second row is 3, 4 multiplied by first column. 3 multiplied by 9 is equal to 27, and -4 multiplied by -5 is equal to -25, not -20. Now simplify these values, we get -1, -9 plus 5 is equal to -4, and the other is 27 minus 20 is equal to 7. Simplify these values. By multiplying -1, we get 4 and -7, and it is equal to xy. And we also know when the two matrices are equal, their corresponding elements are also equal. So x is equal to 4 and y is equal to -7. We find also a determinant which is equal to -1. -1 is equal to not equal to 0, and this is non-singular, so we can find the values of x and y. Now find the value of x is equal to ax determinant over a determinant. Ax determinant is equal to 9 -5, 1 and -1 over a determinant is -1. Now we simplify these values. -1, 9 multiplied by -1 is equal to -9, and plus -5 multiplied by 1 is equal to -5, multiply with minus is equal to +5, and solve with -1, -4, and it is equal to 4, and it is the value of x. And now we find the value of y, ay determinant over a determinant. Now we find the value of y, which is 4 -3, 9 -5 over a determinant is equal to -5. Now simplify these values. 4 multiplied by 5 is equal to -20, minus -3 multiplied by 9 is equal to -27, whole divided by -1. Now simplify these values. -20 plus 7 over -1, which is equal to -1 into, it is 27 plus 7, and the answer is -7. Here is x is equal to 4 and y is equal to -. These two linear equation in the matrix form, which is equal to 2 -2 -5 -2, and the next matrix is equal to xy is equal to, the third one is equal to 4 -10. This is a matrix x and b. We write as ax is equal to b, but we find the value of x whose elements are x and y. and the x is equal to A inverse B. Before finding the A inverse, we first find the A determinant, which is necessary. A determinant is equal to 2 minus 2 minus 5 minus 2. Simplify these values, we get 2 multiplied by minus 2 is equal to minus 4 minus into minus 5 multiplied by minus 2 is equal to 10. Now simplify these values, we get minus 4 minus 10 is equal to minus 14, which is not equal to 0. So it is non-singular. Singular, and we can find the values of A inverse. Before finding A inverse, we first find adjoint A, which is equal to adjoint. The A matrix is 2 minus 2 minus 5 minus 2. Apply the adjoint formula, we get minus 2, 2, 5 and 2. This is the adjoint of A. Now we put the values of adjoint A and A determinant in the A inverse. A inverse is equal to adjoint of A over A determinant. Adjoint of A is minus 2, 2, 5, 2 and A determinant is equal to minus 40. And we write it 1 over minus 1 over 14 into minus 2, 2, 5 and 2. This is the inverse of A. तो पेंसिल आना बेटा, खत्म हो गया वो मेरी पर्स के साथ पड़ी है. This is A inverse, and put the A inverse and B and X in the formula, we get X is equal to A inverse B, X element is equal to XY is equal to, and A inverse is equal to minus 1 over 14 into minus 2, 2, 5 and 2, and the element of B is 4 and minus 10. Now we simplify these values, minus 2, 2, 5 and 2 into the element of B is equal to 4 and minus 10. So we first multiply these two matrices, and before multiplying, the rule is the first matrix is number of column and the second number of rows. They are both equal and they are conformable for multiplication. So we multiply them each other. But first write minus 1 over 14 into this first row with first column. Minus 2 multiplied by 4 is equal to minus 8. 2 multiplied by minus 10 is equal to minus 20. And the second row with the column is 5 multiplied by 4 is equal to 20. And 2 multiplied by minus 10 is equal to minus 20. Now simplify these values, 1 over minus 1 over 14 minus 28 and over 0. Now we simplify these values, minus 1 over 14 multiplied by minus 28, and the other is minus 1 over 14 multiplied by 0. Now find these values, we get 2 and the other is 0, and it is equal to xy. Here we know that the two matrices are equal if their corresponding elements are also equal. So the x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 0. In Kramer rule, we find A determinant first, and we know that A determinant is equal to minus 40. So we find the value of x and y, which is x is equal to Ax determinant over A determinant. Ax determinant is equal to 4 minus 10 minus 2 minus 2 determinant over minus 40. And we simplify these values. First we find the determinant. 4 multiplied by 2 is equal to minus 8 minus 10 multiplied by 2 is equal to plus 20 over minus 40. Simplify these values. Minus 8 minus 20 over minus 14 is equal to minus 28 over minus 40, which is equal to 2. And it is the answer of x in this question. And the answer of y is equal to ay determinant over a determinant. Ay determinant is solve 2, minus 5, 4 and minus 10 over a determines it is equal to minus 40. Now simplify these two values. We get 2 multiplied by minus 10 is equal to minus 20 and plus minus 5 multiplied by 4 is equal to minus 20 into, according to rule, here is minus into minus plus 20 over minus 14. So minus 20 plus 20 is equal to 0 over minus 14, which is equal to 0. Which are 3 minus 4 1 2 and the other is x y is equal to, the third one is 4 and 8, and we write them as a, x and b. And the question is ax is equal to b, but we find the value of x whose elements are x, y. So it is right, the formula is x is equal to a inverse b. And we find determinant a first, which is 3 minus 4 1 and 2. Now solve these values for finding the determinant of a. 3 2s are 6 minus 4 multiplied by 1 is equal to minus 4 is equal to 6 plus 4 is equal to 10, which is not equal to 0, so it is non-singular. And now we find a inverse, and before finding a inverse we find the adjoint of a. And adjoint of a is 3 minus 4 1 and 2. Applying the adjoint rule, we get 2 3 minus 1 and 4. This is adjoint of a. And when we find a inverse, which is equal to adjoint a over a determinant, put the values of adjoint a and a determinant. We have 2 4 minus 1 3 and a determinant is equal to 10, and we write it as 1 over 10 into 2 4 minus 1 and 3. This is the a inverse. Now we put the value of a inverse x and b in the formula. We get x is equal to a inverse b. Values of x is element are x into y, and a inverse is equal to 1 over 10 into 2 4 minus 1 3, and the b is 4 and 8. Now simplify these values. We get 1 over 10 into, before multiplying we know the rule. We simplify these two matrices. We get multiply them. First row with first column is 2 multiplied by 4 is equal to 8 plus 4 multiplied by 8 is equal to 32. Second row with the column is minus 1 multiplied by 4 is equal to minus 4. 3 multiplied by 8 is equal to plus 24. Now simplify these values. 1 over 10 into 8 plus 32 is equal to 40, minus 4 plus 20 is equal to plus 20. Simplify these values. 40 over 10, 20 over 10, and these are simplified. We get 4 and 2. And we know that when the two matrices are equal, their corresponding elements are also equal. So x is equal to 4 and y is equal. In Cramer's rule, we first find the determinant of A, and we know that determinant of A is equal to 10, which is not equal to 0, and it is a non-singular, and we can solve it further. When find the value of x, we find Ax determinant over A determinant. Ax determinant is equal to 4, 8, minus 4 and 2. Determinant over A determinant is equal to 10. Now we simplify these values, which are here is 4 multiplied by 2 is equal to 8, minus 8 multiplied by 4 is equal to minus 32 over 10. Now simplify these values. 8 plus 32 over 10 is equal to 40 over 10, which is equal to 4, and it is the value of x. Now we find the value of y, in which Ay determinant over A determinant. Put the values of for y determinant, we get 3, 1, 4, 8 determinant, and over A determinant is equal to 10. Now simplify these values. We get 3 8s are 24, minus 1 multiplied by 4 is equal to 4 over 10. 24 minus 4 is equal to 20 over 10, which is equal to 2.